Buying a house tends to be like this ultimate goal that people hold on to. So when it comes time to make a decision when to move, your first instinct is just not ready to buy. Just waiting for that proud job promotion. I'm just waiting to get that dream job. I'm just waiting to graduate college before I actually commit to buying a home. People think that buying your first home should be the best home, the only home that you stick with for the rest of your life. It's good to have goals, absolutely 100%. You should always be moving forward in life. But a lot of times we kind of give this illusion of grandeur when it comes to home ownership. Home ownership is a great thing to accomplish, but it shouldn't be your all end goal. So you should use home ownership not as a tool or as a vision or where to go in the future. You should use home ownership as a vehicle to carry your life forward. And here in this video, I'm going to explain why you should buy a home in your early 20s or possibly as soon as you're able. And I know, right? What realtor hasn't made a video about this? But usually the underlying intention is we want you to buy a home through us so we can make money. But here's the situation. A lot of these realtors like to target millennials as just to be another number. I'm telling you guys this because I honestly do believe this is 100% the best thing you can do. I don't care if you're in my state or any other state in this country. Let me explain the story. Let me explain the situation. You be the judge and see if it's right. And if you do want to start the situation, if you do want to start your home buying process and you do live in Arizona, feel free to give me a call. You can find my website at searchwestvalley.com. Anyways, let's get to it. So my wife and I had a very normal experience when we first moved out. We saved up for a little deposit, got a nice little apartment somewhere, and we kind of were just there for a year. On my 21st birthday, I got the biggest news of my life. We were having a baby. My wife was about a month pregnant then. It was the best thing that could ever happen to us. And of course, our lease was up in a few months. So me, at the time, I was a realtor for 2 years now. You would think that I would be the one pushing for home ownership, right? But even me as a realtor had these perceptions in my mind about home ownership and how you should really get ready to buy a home. If it wasn't for my amazing wife who always projects us forward in our life, she was the one that says, no, let's go get a house. It doesn't matter if it's in the best area. Let's just go get it done. I'm tired of renting. I pushed back. I even said, let's go buy a little condo or townhome. She persisted, and what can I say? Happy wife equals happy life. So I'll never forget that little home. It was about 5 minutes away from our parents' home. It wasn't in the area we wanted to be in. We lived in a much nicer apartment. The area was a lot better around the apartment, I should say. But we committed to it. We got a little tiny home. At the time, the payments were a lot less than our rent, and we kind of just stuck to it. It didn't have air conditioning. Literally the first night we slept in there, we heard gunshots outside. We never heard any after that. So my wife had her baby, who is now the light of our lives, and we lived there for about 2.5 years without AC, might I add. And in this time, we made a lot of dumb mistakes. We got credit cards, we got lines of credits, our dogs got sick, and instead of paying cash, we got a care credit account. We did everything you do in your early 20s. But fortunately for us, when it was time to buy another home 2.5 years later, when we sold that home, we made about $20,000 to $40,000. And with that money, we were able to pay off all our debts. We were only left with our cars and our houses. And we put a pretty nice chunk of down payment for our home. And then on top of that, we put some of it aside. So now we have a rainy day fund if anything ever happens. Now, let's just live in a hypothetical world where I got what I wanted and I decided to keep renting for another 2 years. What would have happened? Man, we would have been happy in our little apartment. I mean, it's not a lot of space, but we would have been okay. Sure, we would have been in a nicer area where we're 5 minutes away from the theater. But ultimately, where would that let us? 2 years later, let's say we wanted to now buy the home that we were to buy eventually. We had to save up our own money from our own down payment. We had to save up for closing costs. We had to save up for our inspections. We had to do that the hard way. And not only that, but all the mistakes we were going to make those 2 years, with the care credits, the care accounts, the lines of credit, were still in the picture. So now we had to qualify for a new home with all of our mistakes, with the down payment that we had to save up, and now buying the home. And I'm sure we still would have got it. But with the situation we're in now, we kind of struggled a little bit with the home that we didn't want, but ultimately we were able to just make a huge amount of money to get that. So the house of our dreams wasn't the first house. And as a matter of fact, the house of our dreams is in our second house where we currently live. We live in a home that suits our needs at the moment. Our dream home isn't going to come until 3 or 4 houses down. And by then, we're going to have so much equity from the house that we bought, we keep carrying over, because we're putting nice sizable down payments with the money that we make, that it's going to almost pay for itself. We're going to at least put 20 to 30% down off our gainings. Now I'm a realtor, so of course, that's our long-term plan. But if you're considering early 20s, you're just moving out, if you have a job for at least 2 years, you have decent credit, consider buying. Yes, you might have an area you want to live in and you already have an apartment in mind, but just look maybe 10, 20 minutes away from where you're thinking. It's not the best area that you want to be at, but just consider it. Does it fit your needs? Is it a one bedroom house? Is it 2 bedroom, 1 bath? Can you get some things done in the next future? Consider your options closely, because you can make up to 20 or 30, 40 grand if you choose the right decision. Ultimately, renting is throwing your money away, and when you're paying a mortgage, even though let's just hypothetically say if you buy a home, your payment would be higher than your current rental amount that if you were to get an apartment, I would still say it's worth the extra effort and energy, because if you use it as a vehicle to propel your life forward, not as your ultimate goal, then those extra $100 you're paying every month, you're going to get it back 5 to 10-fold in 2 or 3 years when you decide to sell. And who knows, maybe you want to stay in your home for 4 or 5 years, and that next home you buy is going to progress you even further, and you're going to be able to get that home dream that you want. That's it, guys. If you have any questions about anything I said, please feel free to reach out, leave a comment below. I make videos once a week here in this channel. I like to give straightforward real estate advice, so if you like it, hit subscribe, and that's it. Thank you guys so much for your time.